on the Marvel Studios side of things, got some interesting stuff that came out. So we got new trailers for Thunderbolts. It's called a special look, but it was like an extended trailer. They had basically a scene in the beginning. It was this car chase scene that was kind of teased in the first trailer. Bucky shows up, so on and so forth. And then they show some new footage. And then we also got a Captain America Brave New World trailer. And also just this morning before we started recording, a What If Season 3 trailer dropped as well. I want to start off with Captain America, actually, Brave New World, because that's the movie that's like on the immediate horizon. But this is like the first trailer we've gotten in a few months. We've been seeing the teaser a lot, especially in front of movies, but now they have a lot of new footage here. Definitely some new shots of things, a little bit more of the story, just faint touches. And we've also talked about this movie has been evolving and morphing quite a lot over the past like year or so. A lot of reshoots. I think they still have one more round of pickups that are like on the horizon. Like they are still tinkering with this movie. But how did you feel about this new trailer? We got a lot of new stuff with Red Hulk, you know, more scenes and more vibey elements in terms of what they're going after. What were your thoughts on just what we saw at this brand new look at Brave New World?
You know, I ain't gonna lie to you. These trailers kind of been cooking. They've been cooking. In Captain America in particular, they give us more Isaiah Bradley stuff. You can tell they've been working on CGI things. So Red Hulk is starting to look way better. I remember when we first talked about the trailer, I'm like, I don't know about how this Red Hulk looks. But in this trailer, I was like, it looks like they almost got it together. I was like, wait, this looks pretty decent. But I still enjoy the tone they're going for. We get to see a little bit more action of what they're going for, which is interesting because I remember, of course, hearing about the test screenings. That was the thing. People were like, "Oh, we're not too impressed with the action and what's going on." I imagine a lot of these reshoots, it's probably a lot of the action beats that have been going on in the film. But I'm interested. Before I think I always had wanted to see it, but of course, part of me was like, I have to see this movie out of obligation. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like, let's go watch Captain America. But as time goes on, I'm getting more and more excited about this movie, man. And it could just be really good trailer cutting. I've been, a victim of that before. Like, dang, this trailer's really good. The movie's just and that could definitely be the case here. But I think they're doing a good job of still getting me somewhat interested in what this movie could be. I thought it was a pretty good trailer.
Yeah, trailer's good. All the trailers have been good for this movie. I'm just very concerned about this film. Beyond what's floating out there on the internet, like not even that, just the idea of the movie in and of itself concerns me. Because what are we trying to say? What new are we saying about Captain America in the MCU that's not already been said before? Obviously, it's Anthony Mackie, he's black, yes, but we had the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Like we've kind of been there if you watch the show. What are we doing here? And a lot of the vibes of what we've seen out of these true trailers, conspiracy, don't trust anybody, somebody's pulling the strings. Oh, that sounds familiar. We've been there before. So what are we doing here? And so that just really just gives me so much pause because I just don't know what all this movie has to say and how different I guess it's going to be compared to what's come before it. Obviously, like you said, going to give it a chance and see it, of course, and talk about it. But I can't really go further beyond that. And I will give them credit on, sort of improving certain things. Like it does look better from a visual perspective. But we'll see when the movie comes out in a couple of months here. Thunderbolts showed us a little bit more. The big thing I want to talk about here, though, is that it appears that a big nugget of information has finally been revealed, a big mystery that a lot of people have been wondering about for a long time. And that was the question of who bought Avengers Tower? We've been wondering that question ever since it was sold off in Spider-Man Homecoming all the way back in 2017. So we're talking about a 7-year-old mystery at this point? Hell, we were even on the Star Wars pod. It was like a year and a half ago. We did a whole episode speculating about this and making guesses. Like, who bought it? Was it Kingpin? Was it Norman Osborn? Was it Reed Richards? And turns out it's Valentina, who is now leading the Thunderbolts, I suppose. She's going to be the head honcho of this new team that they're assembling. They pretty much all but confirm it here. They don't actually say it, but, everything she says insinuates like, oh, so many historic battles have taken place here that you can imagine it wasn't cheap. It looks like the inside of, what we know Avengers Towers to be. So yeah, I just got to ask you, what do you think about that reveal? Is it satisfying for you that we now know Valentina is the one who got the deed to the building all those years ago in Spider-Man Homecoming?
Yeah, I don't even know where to start. in us talking about who bought Avengers shot, like Thunderbolts wasn't even on our wasn't even on the list, like not even a little bit. I don't
Pretty
like
sure it
we
wasn't.
didn't
Yeah,
we
no.
didn't name nobody on a Thunderbolt. We didn't name her. We didn't name her. We just I just didn't. I could not have foreseen this, and I don't think I wanted this either because there are so many other good uses of what that tower could be that doesn't involve Thunderbolts. And yeah, I definitely feel some type of way about it. I think because I even thinking about Thunderbolts as a team, does that tower even make sense for them? They don't. You know what I mean? Like Avengers are like, to me that tower is meant to be flashy.
Yeah.
Valentina as a character may be flashy, but the Thunderbolts as they are supposed to be these covert
Black Ops.
operation
Yeah.
Black Ops, and you telling me they in the tower in the sky that everybody can see? That blows my mind. I just can't I have a hard time coming to that conclusion. The people we did come up with makes more sense. Norman Osborn, Kingpin, Baxter, all of these flashy. It makes sense for people to be able to see why they're up there. This is the people that make almost the least amount of sense for them to be up there. Like, are they disguising it as something else? Like, are people going to look up and be like, oh, that's, I don't know, something else? You know what I'm saying? Something that's not the Thunderbolts. It's supposed to be this covert operation base. Maybe that's the case, but even in, I don't know. I just think they could have used it in so many other more serviceable ways to the MCU, especially all those characters that we speculated for have potential to be upcoming. You know what I'm saying? We know Fantastic Four is coming. We know Kingpin is about to show up in Daredevil. We know all these things are about to happen. Y'all went with Thunderbolts. I just think we didn't have to do that. Like that's just a story beat that just didn't make any sense to me. And yeah, it's just weird. It's a weird choice.
In somewhat typical Marvel Studios fashion, they went with the least interesting option here. When this came across my timeline, I literally said, you gotta be fucking kidding me. We did not just wait 7 years, not only for it to be revealed that it's Valentina, but for it to also be revealed in a trailer in this way, which we also didn't have to do. And I'm not saying that this moment, that this reveal had to be the biggest deal possible, but I do think that it could have been a moment that genuinely could have gotten people excited. Like, just imagine, just walk with me for a second. We're in Captain America Brave New World. Movie's over. Mid-credit scene comes up. You see the foundations. You see the building being remodeled. You know, maybe there's some construction workers on the inside putting up some new paintings, whatever it is. And then you got the real estate agent on the phone like, oh, yeah, he's on the way. He's about to sign the paperwork. And in walks Reed Richards, or in walks Kingpin, anybody else that we speculated what that moment could have done in a movie theater to see that moment unfold and be like, oh shit, look who's now like one of the most powerful people in Manhattan. You know, look who now has one of the most sought after real estate, properties in all of the city. Like that could have been just a dope moment that I think we could have had as an audience, but we don't get that. In terms of the Thunderbolts, it's interesting you bring that up because I think that this might also relate to the movie as a whole. Like, they do kind of make the least amount of sense when you really think about it. Like it's the most obvious place and headquarters and location. Like it's very much like, hey, we're here, guys. We're the team that's going to save the world. And Thunderbolts are not supposed to operate that way, which also leads me to believe and speculate. Like, we keep harping on this damn asterisk at the end of this title. Are they really the Thunderbolts? Like, is that really the team? Are they the Secret Avengers? Are they the Dark Avengers? Are they just the Avengers? Like, I don't know, but they obviously have it there for some reason. It's not there by a mistake. But even if you go there, even if you take that sort of premise, the people that are on the team are still like these covert agents. Exactly. You know, Yelena and Bucky and Red Guardian, like they're very below level, below the map. They're not flashy. They're not the beacons. They're not the people you put out in the parades and have on the merchandise. And so even if they are a covert Avengers team, why are they in the most obvious location in the world, essentially, like calling for all sorts of it? I don't know. But do you think that there could be a tie-in there, specifically with the title of the movie, maybe the subversion of who they are as a team or their placement as a team in general? Like, hell, maybe they all die or most of them die and they have to start over. I'm just like spitballing here, but do you think that there might be a
Yeah.
tie-in with that location and also just who they are as a team and their identity?
You know, I feel like I'm always overestimating and giving too much credit to Marvel, DC, all these people. I'm like, man, what if they're smarter than what I think they are? And like hoping, because even just go back to Captain America real quick. What makes this movie interesting to me and what could be genius is that even in real life, people are not looking at Anthony Mackie and like, damn, Captain America. I can't wait for like him as an actor. Even people are like, man, I don't know about him. And in some ways, that's really cool to me because that's how people feel about Captain America in the MCU right now. Like in that universe, people are like, you want this dude to be our Captain America? I would love if they could play with both ideas at the same time, bring that home, make it make sense. Thunderbolts, in seeing what we're just talking about, them being in this tower, if you could make at this conversation we're having, if they're self-aware to be like, why are they in this tower? What is going on? Valentina, we don't want this thing. Why are you doing this? If that's part of the movie, hell yeah, do that. Maybe by the end she sells it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe. I feel like I always have ideas like this, and they never turn out to be that smart.
It's
and
always
that
the most
cunning,
basic fucking
and that
option
it's
usually.
always the most basic option. And I would just really love if maybe one time we were right about one of these things. Like I would love to walk into Thunderbolts, Valentina be like, man, you never guess whose house this used to be. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it used to be the Avengers Tower. And they're like, no, this ain't gonna work. And they leave. And maybe it's in the maybe I'm giving them too much credit that it's in the trailer for a reason. They knew we was going to talk about this, but no, it's usually not the case. And so again, I can have hope, but I just don't see that being the case, unfortunately.
You are on to something there though, because even at the end of the trailer, they do the typical shtick like, oh, what are we gonna call ourselves? What's our name? And Red Guardian's like Thunderbolts. We should call ourselves Thunderbolts. That's such a great name. And Bucky's like, we cannot call ourselves Thunderbolts. Like we can't do that. And perhaps that little idea is apparent throughout the entire film. Like all these things that other forces think that they should be or people want them to be, they reject them outright. Like we can't do that. Like that's the reason we actually can't do that either. Oh, by the way, I used to be an assassin on behalf of Hydra. That's why I can't be Captain America. Maybe these things are talked about, and I think a good script would actively address all of that stuff. Considering that pretty much everybody involved here does have like a checkered history and a checkered past. That would be a great movie. You know, I think that's ripe for like great material and can really throw us off of our scent. Like that's how you do something different that we haven't seen in the MCU. And this has to kind of be their answer to what we've seen out of like James Gunn's Suicide Squad. Like all of the reasons why they should not be heroes, all the reasons why they should not be held up in high regard and they should not be placed on pedestals. Like let's just like tackle that stuff head on. I think the movie would be better for it. Perhaps the tower somehow gets wrapped up into that. Like maybe she bought it and it's a waste of fucking money and now she has to sell it herself. That would be cool. That would be a good moment. But like you said, typically they don't do stuff like that. They typically just kind of lean into the more basic elements of it all. So I don't know. Lots of interesting stuff there. Thunderbolts, Captain America, Fantastic Four, 3 big movies coming out next year.
Yeah.
What movie makes the most money? What movie makes the least amount of money at the box office? When it's all said and done, when we see the box office receipts, what is the highest grossing and what's the lowest grossing of the 3?
Fantastic Four makes the most money. You know, I'm gonna say Thunderbolts makes the least amount of money. Even though I think Thunderbolts is going to be the better movie than Captain America, but I think people are still like about to pull up for a Captain America movie. Like I think people want to see Red Hulk. I think people still want to see what that movie has to offer, even though it's sketchy. I think Captain America makes the or Thunderbolts makes the least amount of money, and Captain America kind of falls in the middle, and Fantastic Four makes the most.
So I think Fantastic Four will lead as well, but not by like a significant margin. Like I don't think it's going to be like a runaway. I mean, it could. It certainly could. You know, I've been very wrong before, but I feel like that these 3 are going to be more closely linked financially than one might think. But I do think also Thunderbolts will be on the low end of these 3 just because of the lack of notoriety with the characters. That's really the main reason there. And Captain America, but Captain America is kind of a toss up too. It can kind of go either way. Like if there's like if the movie's
Yeah.
not great and if like bad word of mouth spreads, I think that it will significantly impact that movie probably more than the other two. Like if people are like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, that Captain America movie's not good. I'm not going to see it." Like that'll
Yeah.
probably be detrimental to that one because it also is like increasingly expensive. It's like one of the more expensive movies as well. So yeah, I'm very interested to see like what the financial returns of these are going to look like. Other quick things just to mention, they also talked about Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, the new animated original series that's going to come out January 2025. Kevin Feige also quickly made a note about Miles Morales and when we might see him in the MCU. I think he gave an interview to an outlet. He said that Miles will appear in the third Spider-Verse movie, which is in production, talking about the Sony Spider-Verse movies. He continued to say, I hope that shortly after that he can enter the MCU in live action. So it doesn't really say anything, but should that be the route moving ahead? Like, should that be the next logical step? I mean, we're continuing Tom Holland. We know that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, should Miles eventually be in the MCU at some point? Is that something you want to see?
Again, it's something we talked about before, but there is an idea here where we wrapped up Spider-Verse. Miles has had his time in animation. Let's see what he can do in live action. I think there is something there that he's kind of like hinting at. Like, let's just finish out Miles's own animated universe first. Tom Holland would be old enough to kind of be, kind of partnered to Miles at the time or mentor to Miles at the time. I think I'm for it. And of course, I don't think he'll have his own movie, but I think he'll appear in another Tom Holland Spider-Man film after that. And I think to that degree, it makes sense.
By the way, Tom Holland getting to work, lining up the projects. Is about to be in
Oh
Chris
man,
Nolan's next movie. Has Spider-Man lined up. It's going to be in Avengers Doomsday. We already know it's confirmed. His 2026 is going to be phenomenal. Like he might be the highest grossing box office movie star that year, just based on the projects he's involved with. He's been taking some time off. He hasn't really done a ton over the past couple of years. And so yeah, his 2026 is going to be a highlight for him for sure. And then last but not least, we also got a new trailer for What If season 3 that actually just dropped this morning. This is the final season of What If. They have confirmed that it's going to be dropping the first episode on December 22nd. They're actually following the same, I guess, format and release strategy that they did last year. They're going to release an episode a day over the holiday season. And it's 8 episodes it's going to conclude. But any thoughts on what we saw out of this What If season 3 trailer and just, overall expectations of the final season?
I'm interested. I think a lot of I've always liked the concept of what if. I always like let's go into these crazy scenarios with these Marvel characters and let's switch stuff up. I'm interested, man. We get to see. I mean, we now some mutants are entering. We've seen a little bit of Storm stuff in here.
With Mjolnir, by the way.
With Mule, because it makes so much sense, and I have never put it together until I seen that. I was like, yeah. Hell yeah, let's do that. And so yeah, they got me interested. I'm definitely going to be there to watch, man. But I'm actually a little sad it's ending because there's so much you can do. But I think it also makes sense, given I'm sure not a ton of people like What If isn't just like some viewership banger. You know what I'm saying? So I think it also makes sense. But I am excited to watch it. I am.
That was going to be my follow up, I guess, point or question. I don't, I like What If. I don't love it. It's fine.
Yeah.
The first season is still kind of my favorite, and I really this release strategy is very strange to me. Like an episode a day is I don't know, just like drop it all at once or do week to week. This strategy is just it's very strange to me. But I don't know if they've really reached the full potential of what If could have been. That's ultimately like what I'm getting at. This trailer does have like some interesting stuff, like you mentioned Storm wielding Mjolnir. That's obviously very, very enticing. It looks like some Shang-Chi cowboy stuff is going down, like Shanghai Noon type shit. I don't know what's happening there, but that caught my eye. So there's like some cool stuff, but as a concept, I don't know if they really, really got into the What If bag like we could have done. And I think it goes back to what happened in season 1 with the connectivity of it all. Like once we found out that it all actually was like kind of connected, I was like, oh, well, that kind of takes away some of the fun, like where we can just like enjoy this for what it is for these 25 minutes and that's it. But now we're like building up to bigger Avengers teams at the end of it. It's like, guys, get out of your own way. Like you literally have a What If show to avoid that. But we're still leaning into this idea of crossover and overlap and team ups. It's like, okay, all right, well, we've learned nothing. So, yeah, I obviously will watch it, and hopefully it's good. I just think that they might have they might have missed the boat on this one. I just don't know if they really, really lived up to the promise of what if could have been ultimately as a concept, but we'll see.